This is about the function of ingredients. The first ingredient is flour. Flour provides the structure, or some books will say the framework. It brings everything together in your batter or dough. There's something in flour called gluten, which is the protein part of the flour. It gives it elasticity and it forms elastic strands. If you've ever done paper mache, where you've taken flour and water, and then you ripped up the newspaper, you mix the flour and water together, put the newspaper strips in there, and put it around a balloon. It's the gluten that gets it to stick there and dry. You see the word kind of glue, obviously, in gluten. So then it kind of forms its elastic stand. It's the stickiness of it. There are people that have to have other food because they can't have gluten, so they have to have gluten-free products, or they do some other substitutions for what some might have as celiac disease. Leavening or leavening agents, which we talked about in cookies, something that makes the product rise. Now these are leavening agents that we find mostly in cookies, or in our case, as we're starting now, quick breads. Baking soda needs an acid, such as buttermilk or sour milk, and produces carbon dioxide for leavening. If you don't have buttermilk, to sour milk, you could put lemon juice or vinegar into your regular milk, let it sit there just for a few moments, and it'll start to curdle. Baking powder just needs a liquid. When combined with a liquid, a chemical action occurs and carbon dioxide is formed. It expands when heated and causes the mixture to rise. Then there's 3 ways you can get air into a mixture and count that as a leavening agent. One way would be to sift the flour. Second way is beating eggs. And the third way is creaming fats, which we did when we made cookies. Eggs have several properties. Most of the time we think of them as a binder, like we did in cookies, or as a leavening agent. And then I broke it down. Egg whites will produce a harder crust when you're making a bread. Egg yolks will increase the firmness and the tenderness. Eggs also will add some flavor and some food value because they are in the protein group. Now they're not going to add a lot of nutritive value, but they do have a little to add to your product that you make. Sugar, we had this in cookies. It helps it to brown and adds flavor, crispness, and it helps to tenderize. Fats could be shortening, butter, oils. They make your product tender and flaky. Also, they will help produce a velvety crumb and keep your product moist. So if you forget to put the oil into the pancakes, you're going to have crispy crackers instead of pancakes. So it's a very important ingredient. Liquids. Added to batters and doughs to form the gluten and to start the leavening action. And of course, again, milk and water will also add a little nutritive value. There are 3 types of quick bread batters and doughs: pour batter, drop batter, soft or rolled. Some books call it a soft dough, some will call it a rolled dough. A pour batter is a mixture that is very easily stirred with a spoon and thin enough to pour. And some of the examples I had were pancakes, waffles, popovers, and crepes. Crepes are a very thin French pancake, which we do in culinary arts too. Popovers, a lot of times I will demonstrate those in class. What makes popovers rise is steam and heat. There's no leavening agent in a popover. It's milk, some flour, salt, and some butter or oil. Drop batter is stirred and thick enough to drop from a spoon. Examples would be muffins, dumplings, drop biscuits, and loaf breads like banana bread, pumpkin bread. There's lots of different types of loaf breads. And then the third one is the soft or the rolled dough. Can be rolled and molded on a floured surface. My examples of quick breads were rolled biscuits or donuts. You'll notice that batters and doughs were listed here. A batter would have thinner consistency, and the ratio of liquid to flour is going to be more in a dough because a dough is thicker. That's why you'd be able to roll it out or mold it, where you wouldn't be able to obviously roll a pour batter because that's very thin. Drop batter gets a little bit thicker. There's a little bit more flour to milk ratio in a drop that you can drop from a spoon, or it's thicker. When we do our banana bread or shortcake, you'll know that that's a thicker dough to it. And then the floured soft rolled dough on your floured surface, your rolled biscuits and donuts. So these were the function of ingredients, not just in quick breads, but I put them here because we are starting quick breads. You've had a little bit of ingredient information in cookies, and now this will lead us through the quick breads and the yeast breads.